Okay, so we are going to get started and I've shared my screen. So let's go. All right, so welcome to Raspberry Studio Sessions and welcome to Raspberry AI. Hi, my name's Mandisa Foster. I am a former fashion designer and I run enablement and user training for Raspberry AI. Please feel free to say hi in the chat and let us know where you're coming from. Today, we're going to cover a brief intro to Raspberry, a full workflow overview, and then hands-on practice time in app with a project. So why Raspberry AI? At Raspberry, our team blends fashion design, creative direction, and generative AI research. That mix lets us build tools that truly understand how creative work gets done. Our platform supports the end-to-end creative process from market research and ideation through photorealistic digital prototyping and editing to the creation of campaign-ready visuals. We are a SOC 2 Type 2 compliant enterprise-grade solution with numerous integrations with Miro, Adobe, Browseware, Clo, Tracix, Microsoft, Color and more. For design teams, the key value is speed and iteration, exploring dozens of variations of prints, colorways, and fabrications digitally, and using that ideation to make better design decisions. For marketing, it's efficiency and flexibility, recreating photo shoots in hours instead of in weeks. We'll start with my favorite part, that's sketch to render. You can upload hand-drawn and Illustrator sketches, croquis drawings, or any kind of flat technical sketches and render them as photoreal outputs. These are the assets you'll use for mood boards, line sheets, concept reviews, and even early ecom mockups for instant alignment. Once you've got a base garment, you can explore different silhouette directions, fabrications, trims, and more through our edit module. Instead of redrawing a sketch, re-rendering from scratch, or going back to the factory for a new sample, you can explore silhouette changes in-app. It's a fast way to sanity check design directions before investing more time or money. Edit also works with on-body images for targeted changes. Here you can see we have the same model and a fast way to visualize updates without reshooting or restyling. Image Mixer lets you visualize fabrics and materials hyper-realistically. Notice how Raspberry renders depth, sheen, reflection, and material behavior. It's not simply a color change. It rebuilds the material so it reacts properly to light and structure. However, if you did want to change the color, we can do that within our edit module. We are able to instantly apply colorways and even batch recolor multiple garments at once. Next, our prints and patterns tool. This is where you can create seamless, repeatable prints. Think about how much you normally spend on prints. These prints are one of a kind and both license and royalty free. Now, on-body visualization. This gives you the ability for instantaneous photo shoots anywhere. You can easily try different models, different outfits, and different styling ideas without waiting on samples. We have the ability to bring 3D avatars to life, uploaded from Browser's Clo, Clo's Closet, and more. Or you can generate realistic and diverse AI models with simple or detailed prompts. Lifestyle photography allows you to explore ideas and concepts without having to do it in real life. If you're building a lookbook, a presentation deck, or a seasonal campaign, you can anchor everything around a single AI model without any reshoots. We're even able to take it a step further and animate our image, truly bringing our vision to life. And that's our introduction to Raspberry AI. So let's move on to the training. So next on our agenda is the full workflow overview in our boards workspace. So today I'm going to be working in the boards workspace, which makes it easy to move from one step to the next. We'll move through multiple tools inside Raspberry: sketch to render, prints and patterns, the edit module, lifestyle photography, and on-body presentation. My goal is to show you how these fit together in a real design workflow and not just as separate features. I'll also be showing how to batch recolor a garment after sketch to render using the edit module's apply color tool. So let's switch over to the app and I'm going to walk you through what this workflow looks like when it's all done and what we're going to do together. So I'm in the boards in Raspberry and we're going to start with a simple 2D sketch of a dress. We're going to generate a photoreal output, Simultaneously, we're going to generate a simple two-color print. And since we're turning this print into embroidery, it's really important that it is simple and could actually turn into embroidery. I'm going to apply that print to my dress. And then I'm going to prompt to change that print to embroidery. I'm also going to do the same thing with my print, and I can do that a couple times over to make sure that I get the right look. From there, I'm going to prompt for a macro view of my embroidery. I'm also going to prompt for a close-up of the bodice and of the fabric so that you can really see the stitching. I'm going to generate an AI model and then dress that model in my output. And last, I'm going to do a batch recolor of the dress. Okay, so now it is your turn to tackle this workflow in Raspberry AI. You can download and use our assets and prompts from the event page, or you can use your own. There are 6 steps to our embroidered style project. We're going to 1, turn the sketch to a photoreal render in Sketch to Render. 2, generate a simple print using prints and patterns. 3, apply the print to the photoreal dress in the edit module. 4, prompt for an embroidered version of the style in the edit module using AI prompts. 5, generate a model in lifestyle photography. And 6, style the model in on-body presentation. The bonus 7th step is to try out batch recoloring the photoreal dress using the provided .ase color palette or choosing colors of your own. So first we're going to sketch to render. We're going to upload the sketch and prompt. Your prompt only needs to include the color, product type, and fabric or material. So I'm going to demo this in app. So when you sign into Raspberry, it's going to look like this. This is our classic experience. I'm going to go to the boards and I'm going to create a new board. And I'm just going to title that embroidered style and today's date. I'm going to go into my assets, and that's where I can access my library and my cloud library. From here, I'm going to go to my cloud library and trainings, and I am going to pull out the sketch of that dress. And you can drag and drop or import images into the board. So I am going to start with, let me close this off, this sketch to render tool node. All I have to do is describe the dress, and I can do that easily using describe image. And this has dress white, which is wrong, of course, because we are going to do navy cotton. Front view, square neckline, wide shoulder straps, sleeveless fitted bodice, vertical bodice seams. Just want to make sure that everything is correct. So we're going to generate. Now, the best thing about the boards is we don't actually have to wait for this to generate. We can keep on going. So next, we are going to generate a print and pattern. You can use this prompt or use your own. You can tweak the wording or the colors. Pro tip, provide Raspberry with a short idea and use Prompt Assist to build upon your prompt. So I'm back in app and I'm going to scroll down a bit and I'm going to go to the tools and I'm going to pull out prints and patterns. And I am just going to use the same prompt that I have in the presentation, a simple line work floral in white on navy blue. And again, it's really important that your floral is quite simple because you're going to turn it into embroidery. So now we're starting to get outputs here of our sketch to render. We'll let the rest of them generate. So in these tools, you have access to all of the same tools and features you have in classic Raspberry. So in concept, you're able to create lifestyle photography. We're going to do that later when we create our AI model. You can create retail fashion clothing against a neutral background, prints and patterns, which we're already doing, graphics and placement prints. Off body means you can remove a model from a garment to get a product photo. Sketch to render, which we did first. Background generator, you can change the background of photos. 2D sketch, you can convert a product image to a 2D sketch. Render to 3D, you can convert an image to a rotatable 3D model. In the mix module, you can apply fabric or unconventional materials to fix silhouettes. It's a great way to update best-selling styles. Or you can do an inspiration mix of 2 completely different silhouettes. And then last in Studio, we'll explore on body later, but we also have multi-view and animate. So let me close that up and we're going to pick the best dress here. They're all really similar, honestly. So I'm going to just grab this one and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger just so it's easier to see. And then we're going to go to our prints and see if we like any of them. Actually, I really love this one, and I think that's going to make a beautiful embroidery. So I'm going to hit this star, and that is going to save it to my library. Okay, next, we're going to go into the edit module, and we're going to apply the print. So once we have our sketch render output and our print, we can mask and apply the print in the edit module directly from the boards. And I hope everybody's following along. Please don't hesitate to ask questions in the chat if you have any questions. So I'm going to choose my dress and I'm going to double click, which opens up a mini edit module. I'm going to AI prompts and I'm going to remove the background. That's going to give me a clean mask of the image that I can use to apply the print. And then I'm going to hit select all. And I'm going to go to apply print or fabric, choose. And since I just saved that print as my favorite, it's the first one that's going to pop up. Here I can play with the offset, but really what I want to do is play with the scale. I want this to be quite a bit smaller, but not too small because we still want to see the embroidery. And then here I'm going to hit apply. So now what it's going to do is apply the print, but use the shadows of the dress underneath the print to make it seem more realistic. And then once that comes up, we'll be able to adjust the shadow strength. So that is obviously too dark. So we're going to lighten this up a bit. We want it to look dark enough so that you can see the folds, but light enough so that you can actually see the details. And I'm going to confirm and add that to the board. Okay, so that's my printed dress. Next, we're going to use AI prompts. I'm going to prompt using Prompt AI for an all-over embroidered texture in the same simple line work pattern. I can type in a short prompt and use Prompt Assist to get a more specific prompt, but I'll be careful to check the new prompt to be sure that it aligns with what I want. So I'm here with the printed dress. I'm going to hit Prompt AI, and I'm going to use the prompt that I have in our assets that I shared at the beginning of the event. So I'm just going to type update the line work print to raised white embroidery in the same pattern all over dress. And then I'm going to hit prompt assist to update that prompt. So now again, I'm going to be really, really sure to read this because, for example, this says transform the flat white floral outline print into a dense raised white satin stitch embroidery. I don't actually want a satin stitch. I want it to just be an outline stitch, so that's not going to work. Replace the white floral line work print with tactile raised white embroidery following the exact same botanical pattern of flowers and leaves. That looks about right. And I can check it again. I can edit it again, and I'm going to generate. Let's see. Let me just make sure that that is correct. Okay, perfect. So while that's generating, again, we don't have to wait. We're going to actually go back to this print and make this an embroidery. So that's going to be our next step. We are going to get a macro view of the bodice, and we are also going to change the print. So let's start with the print. So I'm going to choose the print and hit Prompt AI. And I am prompting transform the line work to raised white embroidery stitch lines in the same pattern. And that prompt will work just fine, but I like to see what Prompt Assist comes up with. So this says satin stitch and sem stitch. I don't want any satin stitch. This one also says satin stitch. So I'm going to apply the prompt and I'm just going to go in here and delete that because I don't actually want these flowers to be filled in. And then I'm going to generate. There's a little pause. Sometimes it likes to clarify the prompt. I don't want it to do that because it's already clear enough. Okay. Okay, that looks good. So now let's take a look at the dress. Those don't look great. See, that's that satin stitch that I didn't want. So I'm actually just going to try this out again. So I'm going to go back to the original dress and I'm going to prompt to update the line work to raise right embroidery in the same pattern all over the dress. And I'm going to generate it just as is without prompt assist and see what it does. Okay. And then we're waiting for this embroidery to come back. I don't like these first two, so we'll just ignore those. And hopefully these ones will come out better. Okay, so while we're waiting, another thing you can do is go directly into your history. That is the third thing that is over here in the left toolbar. You can see everything that you've generated. You can also drag and drop it into the same workspace and continue to work on it. It is one of my favorite things about Raspberry is that you can really just always keep working and iterating on your same projects. Okay, let's see what we got. That looks so much better. Oh my gosh, thank you. Okay, this looks so much better. Yeah, because what we want is realistic line work embroidery. Let's see how this is turning out. That is also turning out so much better. Yay, we tried again. That worked out great. So I am going to, one thing I like to do is have a little macro view of the fabric. So actually, let's start with the dress. Pick the one that we like the best. Let me close the history. I am loving this one. That's looking great. And I'm going to go to prompt AI. And I'm going to prompt to create a macro view of the bodice of the dress, emphasizing the embroidery. And I'll put that through prompt assist. Okay. And then we'll generate. And while that's generating, I'll do the same thing again. And what I want is a macro view of the fabric of the dress. Okay, so we'll keep those generating. And then I never actually generated the macro view of this print. So I'm just going to say create a macro view of the embroidery. And then I'll use prompt assist on that. Okay, apply prompt and generate. So now we've got a lot of things generating. That's okay, but I feel like we can do better. So what we're looking for right now is a macro view of the bodice of the dress that emphasizes the embroidery. And we've also transformed the line work of the print to a raised embroidered line work. And as a bonus, I like to do a macro view of the embroidery. Okay, wow, that looks awesome. If I do say so myself, that is exactly what I was looking for. So I'm going to pull this guy out here. And then that is also looking really good. So I'm going to pull out the dress, the macro view, the embroidery. Let's just put them all together. And then let's take a look at the close-ups of the fabric. These two look amazing, and that's exactly what I was hoping for. So this is just a close-up view of the embroidery, and it is thread perfect. You can actually zoom in on it. And you can also use it as a reference for your factories for this is what I want this embroidery to look like. Okay, awesome. Now we can move on. All right, so we're going to move into lifestyle photography. This is what we're going to use to create a model. You can use this prompt or use your own, and you can fill in more details about your model's ethnicity, hair color, size for a more interesting output. My pro tip is to provide Raspberry with a short idea and use Prompt Assist to improve your prompt. If you look at my prompt, you'll see that it's actually pretty vague. I just have a woman walking through an overgrown garden. It's not my best prompt, and that's okay because I wanted you guys to update it. So I'm going to go into tools. Oh, let me delete that. I'm going to go into tools at the top and I'm going to grab the lifestyle photography tool node and I'm just going to copy paste my prompt. And I could say anything. I could talk about her hair color, her ethnicity. I'm just going to actually just say with freckles. And then I'm going to generate. Here's where you could also decide to change the aspect ratio. I've been generating squares, but you can also generate portrait or landscape at this point. All right, so we are going to let that generate. And while that's happening, let's talk about the other things you can do with the boards. So the boards are a collaborative workspace. That's what this share button means. I can share this with all of my coworkers. I can share it in my organization. I can copy the link. I can share it as view only or with editor access. And then up here are all of the tools I have for commenting. I have sticky notes. And anytime you type, the person's name will pop up at the bottom, or you can comment. I can add a comment here and all of the comments will show up in the left. And I didn't mean to add that comment and I didn't mean to favorite that. So let's get rid of that. Oh, these actually came out really interesting. I think I really like this one. So I'm going to pull her out and make her larger. And then we're going to go into on-body presentation. Once we have our model, we can combine the image with a photoreal render of the embroidered dress for an on-body image. On-body also has an optional prompt for fit and styling. So I have my model. I'm going to hit on-body, and then I'm going to go find my garment, which is this. And I did that just by hitting this target, and you can pick anything on the board. You can also drag and drop right into the tool node. And then I'm going to hit generate. So now this is going to take a second. So while that is working, we are going to skip ahead to our bonus batch recolor. So we are going to batch recolor the solid version of this style using the .ase color palette that I included with our materials. So again, that's generating. We're going to go all the way back to our solid blue dress. And here I'm going to hit apply color. Okay, so one of the cool things that we have added into Raspberry is automatic detection. So when you're using AI recolor, you don't have to mask. You can see that it has identified the shoulder straps, bodice, skirt, and skirt hem. We are going to choose apply to full garment. And this is actually the palette that I have included for us. Is it? It is. But you can also upload your palette. You can download its .asc. You can upload swatches here. So I could, ooh, all I have to do is search .ase and all of my .ase color palettes will come up. But I'm going to go to my library and trainings, studio sessions, batch recolor, and I'm going to pull up the Sunset Raspberry palette and add all of those colors. And then I am going to generate. And again, this is going to take a minute just because it's AI recolor. It is a really beautiful way to recolor, but it does take a little bit longer. Another way to recolor is I'm going to double click into this body. I'm going to remove the background, select all. This is the same thing I did when I added the print. go to color, go to my color palette, and I'm going to pick that same sunset strawberry raspberry palette. And here again, I have AI recolor. Again, it takes a little bit longer, so I'm not going to use it. I am going to use my mask and I'm going to smart recolor. If you use smart recolor, it's a lot faster, but you're going to want to adjust your shadow strength because that's not going to happen automatically. I'm going to click through all the colors, make sure they look good, they look great, and then I'm going to apply. And obviously, that is a lot faster than AI recolor. I'm going to add these as layers, and then I am going to add them to the board. Oh, that AI recolor actually went really fast. So again, AI recolor is a great way to recolor. It makes for beautiful garments. It just auto selects the garment, and you can also do multicolor variations in the same way. I also did the batch recolor up here, which turned out okay, but definitely not as good as AI recolor. So let me shove these guys out of the way. So let's see how our on-body image is doing. Wow, these turned out really good. I'm really happy with these. So I'm going to just zoom in. That one has a little bit of a flaw. I'm going to pull this one out, and here is my final image. So that is it. Here, let's see what we did today. So we started out with a simple sketch, colored it up, created a simple print. Where did I lose you? I created an embroidered version of that dress and an embroidered version of the print. And then we created these macro views of the same dress and the fabric and embroidery in the dress. And as a bonus, did a batch recolor of our dress. And we created an AI model and then dressed that model in our embroidered dress. So you've just completed a full end-to-end AI fashion workflow, sketch to embroidered style in just 6 steps. We've taken the 2D sketch to photoreal render, generated a simple print using prints and patterns, applied to print to the dress, prompted for an embroidered version of the style, generated a model in lifestyle photography, and styled the model in our embroidered dress. And as a bonus, we batch recolored the photoreal dress using the provided .ase color palette. So here are the next 7 days in Raspberry. You can explore the tools in Raspberry AI in 1 week. You can start with sketch to render to edit color. You can create a lifestyle photography model and use edit to change poses. Choose your favorite lifestyle photography output and remove the model from the garment and off body to get a product image. Use multi-view to get multiple angles of the product. Explore our integrations. Import your 3D garments from Browser or Clo to render photoreal and sketch to render. Export your images to your existing Miro boards. Prints and patterns to edit apply print. Generate a print and apply to one of your solid photoreal renders in the edit module. Mix module, upload a photo of a previous bestseller and use the mix module to apply fabric swatches from your own library. On-body presentation, dress a model in your sketch to render outputs and your off-body output and then animate. So what if you don't like what you see? What if you get stuck? When in doubt, regenerate, just try again. I did that when I didn't like what I saw. Try out Prompt Assist to improve your prompts. Check out the in-app walkthrough and tutorial videos under help. And you can always tweak your style in the edit module, trying out AI prompts or erase selection for any stray seams or buttons. We have tutorials, tips and tricks, webinars, and more on our YouTube channel, and you can also search our Raspberry AI help docs. And finally, contact us at support@raspberry.ai. Thank you and happy designing. That was great. Thanks for joining me today.